My name's Ken Deeks, and I'm here today talking to Jon Davis, the head of the energy practice, about the energy market. Hello, Jon. The energy market is going through a period of rapid growth at the moment, and so my question to you is, what are the reasons behind that growth?
Like a lot of these things, it's down to high margins. People are seeing other companies making a lot of money from this, and they want to get into it. Those high margins, though, are caused by the complexity and perhaps the immaturity of the market. So post-Enron, maybe 6 years ago, the market was very, very hot again. Enron collapsed, and what that led to was a sort of a domino effect amongst the energy companies and the banks, and everyone pulled back. Very much a back to basics kind of approach, where the physical players decided to only do physical power or physical gas or physical oil and concentrated on that, and the banks, the financial markets actually pulled out. And all that was because they got scared by this complexity that they saw in the market and what came about when Enron crashed.
You talk about complexity, but what do you mean by complexity? What's complex about this?
What most people focus on the energy markets is the delivery side of it. So unlike the financial markets, I'm actually going to get a physical, or I could get a physical barrel of oil or a physical thermal unit of gas. And people are scared by that, especially the financial institutions. We were talking to somebody recently talking about trading other types of commodities, where when they first got into the commodities market, which also has the physical delivery, they at some point ended up with a train load of timber in a storage yard in New Jersey, because one of their operators had forgot to close out the positions in the month leading up to delivery, and if you don't close it out, then you end up with a physical timber. So that's what scared a lot of people. They realized that a lot of the volatility is in the physical side, in the short-term side of the market, and so that's where the risk is. So everyone pulled back to what they felt comfortable with. But there are other things that make it complex. Things like different rules in different markets. So if you're trading gas in the US, that's completely different from trading gas in Europe, just because the rules around the physical side of the market are different. There's things like units of measure cause a lot of confusion, and the fact that you can blend products together. So if I have two different types of oil, I can actually possibly blend them together and come up with a third type and trade that. These are things that you don't commonly see in the financial markets.
Okay, so what you're saying there is that it's the complexity that was scaring people away. Now we're looking at more and more companies wanting to get into the market. So clearly they're doing something to overcome that complexity. What are they doing to simplify it?
I think what's happened is that the more sophisticated players from the financial markets realized that in order to get into the energy markets properly, they needed to have a physical portfolio, and they needed people to understand that. And again, post-Enron, there were a lot of cheap physical assets or physical energy companies around that could be purchased at a huge discount to what they've been trading at before. And so the more sophisticated and the more forward-looking banks actually got into the physical market then and just held on to them and didn't do anything very sophisticated with them at the time. And now what we're seeing is that the sort of second and third tranche of financial institutions are also buying these energy companies. So you're getting people like RBS just bought Sempra. That's a financial institution buying a physical energy company and putting them together so that they have built-in or in-house understanding of these complex physical issues that you get in the energy markets.
I guess one of the challenges then for these organisations is that suddenly you have two different views. So you have a physical view and you have a financial view. How is that reconciled, or maybe is that something that you help your clients with?
Yeah, and it's a very big problem. If you look at the utilities, the physical energy companies, they tend to be run by engineers. They have a very engineering view of the world. I'm an engineer, so I understand this. We believe that everything can be modelled. The future is modelable, if that's such a word, as long as we have the right parameters. So we are out there trying to remove any uncertainty from the future. If you look at a financial institution, a trader understands that without uncertainty there is no market. If we both agree on what's going to happen in the future, we're not going to trade, we're not going to have a difference in price. So they accept this uncertainty and realise that you need to be better than the people you're trading against at modelling the future, but uncertainty is actually a good thing. So traders think volatility is good, utilities think volatility is bad. So there's just sort of the first or one example of the difference in cultures that you get between these two organisations.
So at the end of the day, getting this right is all down to people.
Yes.
And the fact that people behave in different ways.
Yes.
So again, what do you do to help companies correct that, if you like, or make that work?
I think one of the things that companies like ours have that can help here is people who've been in both markets. I've been in the physical market, I've been in the financial market, and I understand the fact that people use the same terms to mean different things in those different markets. Things like value at risk mean different things in a financial institution than they do in a utility, but they will both talk about value at risk. So if you don't understand the differences, you risk going forward quite quickly with what you think is the right solution and just pulling those two numbers together. But in actual fact, you're missing the underlying differences in the approach or in assumptions that are made in those two models. So I think that's one of the things that we have that makes us unique, is this joint understanding of both sides, if you like, of the market, the physical and the financial market. But I think we also bring in a few things around sort of deep, detailed knowledge of the systems that you're looking at, combine that with deep knowledge of the business that you're in, and a methodology that allows us to repeat this work. It's not just you relying on individuals. You're actually relying on C practitioners' methodologies combined with people who understand the business and the technology.
And if organisations don't get this right, if they don't get the people side right, if they don't get the cultural side right, is there a danger that, again, it could become too complicated and that the market could suffer as a result?
I think the biggest risk is that people think it's not as complicated as it is. That's where people lose out. So when they end up in positions that are very close to physical, or even if they think they're not into the physical market, they can end up very close to it. And you get some of the breaks that happen when a pipeline breaks, or wires are broken, or a storm happens, and the physical market falls apart for a very short period of time. You get huge prices, huge extremes, and huge volatility. And that's the risks that people have seen in the physical market before. If you don't remember them, you don't realise that these things can happen, then even though you're a financial institution, you're putting yourselves at enormous risk.
So your message here to these companies planning to do this is actually it may be a little bit more complicated than you think.
Yes, and I think it's around, there's three areas you've got to look at. The obvious ones are the systems and technology that you have to put in place, the processes that you need to put in place, the business processes you need to change when you're getting into the physical markets or into the energy markets at all. But also not forgetting the people, understanding that you have these two different cultures and you need these two different cultures, but bringing people in who understand how to help those two cultures work together to give you the right answers.
That sounds like a very good message. Thank you very much, Jon.
Thank you.
Thank you.